Back here, first things first. All right, it is time to make our Super Six picks for Thursday Night Football. One of the questions in tonight's contest, which team will win and by how many points? Bucks, Bears, Nick, who do you like and why?
Bears by 3.
A lot of money on the line.
And 3 is also the number of the losing streak I think the Bucks are about to start. Losing to the Bears, losing to the Packers, losing in Oakland. So I think Bears by 3, and I think the Bucks are about to experience a 3-game swoon, Brandon. A little double prediction. That doesn't win you any extra money. But Bears by 3 is my pick tonight, Brandon.
Man, come on. Everyone knows, man, you're the guy to go to when it comes to betting against the spread. You know this, man.
It's true.
Tampa Bay by
Bears plus
3
3.5
points.
is a great bet.
Because of Tom Brady down the stretch. Do you trust Tom Brady down the stretch, or do you trust Nick Foles down the stretch?
Oh, let me flip a coin.
Well,
I'm not sure yet.
Oh, okay. I think
Go ahead,
Tom
Les.
Brady and the Bucks have been a little match made in heaven, just like Brandon's turtleneck in his background. Looks fantastic. I'm going to go Bucks by 6 here.
All right,
so you
good
do have the
stuff.
Bucks
And for you guys at home, make sure you guys get your free picks in before kickoff tonight for your chance to win $25,000 of Terry Bradshaw's money. For more information, story scores, all of that good jazz, head to the Fox Sports app.
Good jazz.
All right, time now for a little jazz, a little funky jazz.
Hey.
Little 4 things first. See what happens when I go off script. Some things we love. Brandon, you loved Andy Reid showing Eric Bieniemy some love.
Oh, yeah. We've been talking a lot about EB, Coach Eric Bieniemy. There's a vacancy open right now. Can it be the first time in history that a coach goes over midway through the year? No, it can't happen. It won't happen.
No, stop.
But anyways,
No, don't
Coach
do that.
Eric.
That'd be awesome.
But no, I talked to some people, as close to this quarterback in Houston, and I talked about who can dial it up for him. And they said, no, Brandon. We don't need someone to dial it up. We need someone that's going to shift our culture. And who can do that? A leader. EB, start looking in Houston for a house.
love it.
Do you have a realtor, Nick?
I do. I can hook him up after we win
right.
the Super Bowl again.
All right, hook him up.
Some new Knicks.
Oh, boy. Mark Berman talking about Chris Paul and Melo coming to New York. Now, this is not, the biggest surprise in the world because Leon Rose used to run CAA basketball and Chris Paul and Melo were his 2 big clients. But look, there's a lot of pushback. Like, oh, no, we don't want old veterans. Like, why? Why don't you want old veterans? You don't want to win? Chris Paul did 17, 5, and 7. Melo, last time you saw him, was in the playoffs and belongs back in New York. Here's the other thing to know, Nick, and I know this is the same thing. We're signing old guys. Doesn't matter. The Durant-Kyrie Irving factor is real in taking New York's attention away from the Knicks. The fact that the Knicks got booted off the Christmas Day game for the first time in years, I think that's really bad. It's not only bad for the Knicks brass, it's bad for the league in general. New York needs to be relevant, and this is the way to get it done. It's true, Brandon.
Okay.
Kevin,
Home run robbery.
best play in sports, the home run robbery. I think this is the single coolest play in sports. The fact that it happened off one superstar's bat, Tatis Jr., and then another superstar, another MVP, robbing it from him, one of the deepest center fields in all of baseball, and it happened in a playoff game, and it would have been to take the lead. It is as good of a play as you will see in sports all year. A Tatis home run robbed by Bellinger, this celebration following it in the playoffs.
He's
it's
so
as
mad.
good as it gets. That is as good as it gets, Jenna, in sports. And
Hang
it
on,
happened
I
on
got-
the
I got
Man,
rival
look at his
that.
reaction. Look at his reaction in the dugout.
All right, I like me some Liam Hendricks. He was so dialed in last night, came in on relief for the A's, helped stave off elimination from the Astros. You wonder, why was he so dialed in? He brought his cat with him to the stadium, but not just his real cat, a cutout, printout version of his cat that he then leaned up against the wall in the bullpen. Do you know what's involved in doing something like this? I did this for my kids' project. You got to order that thing from Shutterfly. It comes 18 by 24. You got to cut it out, glue it onto cardboard or styrofoam, put it in your wheelie suitcase to the game, into the bullpen, and then find a way to lean it up again. You gotta love your cat. You gotta be a cat person of cat people to love your cat so much. Cats are the worst. Way to just pour water all over it. Anyway, Liam Hendricks last night for the A's. They get different strokes for different folks, Nick. He is a cat
integrity. Demands I say that.
All right, moving on.
Sorry.
We got to shift some gears. From cats to kings, Nick. Cats to kings.
Oh,
LeBron James. The conversation starting to shift to LeBron's legacy with the Lakers just one win away from the title. But, you know, if there is a blemish on LeBron's resume, it would be that 2011 Finals run with the Heat when Miami came in as favorites against the Mavericks and lost. Well, Mavericks owner Mark Cuban chimed in on how much different LeBron is today than he was back in 2011. Take a listen.
LeBron James gets a lot of criticism for that series in particular. And I want to ask you, what is the difference that you see in him then in that series and then in him now? Because if you had to just compare certain differences, what are some of the differences that you see?
Yeah. So number one, he was the number 2 guy with the Heat, right? It was Dwayne Wade that really was the leader, like we talked earlier about having that leader in the locker room, right?
Right.
So you could really tell on the court and just from talking to guys that, you know, he went to Dwayne's team, right? It wasn't like, you know, Dwayne came to his team.
Right.
And so I think one is leadership. Now LeBron's that guy, period, end of story. Right. He says who comes on that team, how it's going to work, you know, what we're doing. And 2, he's got the basketball IQ level now. He's a basketball savant.
Hey, Mark, you got time for an interview?
Basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be driving, but I'm sure it's going to be no problem. Just call me, FaceTime me, we'll be fine. Nick, let me start with you. Is Mark Cuban right that LeBron James today is better in year 17 than he was back in 2011 at age, what, 26?
Yes, he's 1,000% correct. And I'm considering, they need to win tomorrow, and he needs to win Finals MVP. But I'm considering unveiling a brand new take. And I think it's going to strike many of you as overzealous, but I think there's evidence to back it up. And that is, so here's the thing. So LeBron James became the greatest basketball player ever in 2016 when he came back from 3-1 down. We know that. So now it's like, what can he do? What can be greater than greatest? What can be greater than greatest? I posit that if LeBron James' career started in 2012 and you just erased the first 8 years, the 2 MVPs, the 2 finals appearances, all the points, all of it, if it was 2012 to now, he would still be the greatest player of all time. That just what he's done post-Mavericks is greater than anything anyone else has done in their careers combined. So let's take a look at a few things if we could, Wilds. First is his 10 greatest playoff games ever. What you will see on this list is only one of them comes pre-Mavericks. That is the 48 special against Detroit. Everything else came from 2012 to now. Now, I know folks are going to bring up it's from 2012 to now, he only has 4 rings. Jordan has 6. Can we put up a blind reveal if we could? And Brandon and Wilds, you tell me, which of these left or right, which is better? Left is better, correct? Does everyone agree? Yeah. Left has more points, rebounds, assists. Okay. Show America what those 2 categories are. That is LeBron James in his last 3 finals losses, and that is Michael Jordan in his final 3-peat, his last 3 finals wins. All of that, of course, also came post-2012. What, Wilds? Why are you shaking your head? This is all, Cuban's got it right.
No. Can we throw up big shots?
Go ahead, Wilds.
Can we show the clutch?
Real quick.
Let's show.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on, Wilds. Let me just answer Brandon real quick. No problem. LeBron James, post-2011, has 4 playoff buzzer beaters. Buzzer beaters, end of game, walk-off. Michael Jordan in his entire career had 3. So even if we remove LeBron's pre-2012 buzzer beaters, he still has more than MJ, so no problem, Brandon. But Wilds, what were you saying?
No,
I'm just curious.
It's a lot of validity behind what you're saying, but I'm talking about this graph right here. Those last 3 final losses, and compared to Jordan's three-peat. I want to see those clutch moments. What did LeBron James do in the clutch moment? Those last 3 final losses.
Brandon,
that's what I want to see.
Do not.
That's what I want to see.
No, don't play into. No, Brandon. You're falling into the trap.
You can't numbers. This is where numbers. This is. No, Twan said this yesterday. This is where numbers, like, yeah, LeBron James can go down as the greatest basketball player ever, but I want to be careful when we keep throwing up these numbers, right? Because MJ could be possibly watching this show, and he's going to be looking at you, Wilds, and he's going to be thinking like, oh, you're just going to let Nick Wright just run away with the conversation? You're not going to fight him at all? What happens when you see MJ in Madison Square Garden? Are you going? What are you going to say to MJ, Wilds?
What? That's always I brought it out. It's always
I didn't know you had the jersey right there. That's so great.
It's a permanent prop here.
Go ahead,
Brandon,
Wilds.
the only way to fight Nick here, you cannot outstat him. You can't. The guy is a human Wikipedia.
No.
You can't be like, I'm gonna get my own stats to fight. You can't. You just have to say, Nick, I refuse to engage in a debate about Jordan's losses, about LeBron's losses versus Jordan's wins. There's one stat. It's 3 wins versus 3 losses. Having a debate whether those things are equal is, I'm not having it. I refuse. I'm sorry, Jenna.
As Antoine would say, it's the eye test.
Jenna.
It's the eye test.
You know, I apologize to interrupt, but my daughter turned 7 today, and you're a Count the Rings guy, and so is she. Like, you know, when you're 5, 6, 7 years old, just numbers like, well, one guy won, one guy lost. You don't totally understand nuance. So you have this in common with a lot of small children. It's just like, oh, well, one guy has more jewelry, so he has to be the best. I got it.
We got to go. Happy birthday, Deanna. By the way, happy Big 7 today. Talk some football. Big problems in Big D. The Cowboys defense under fire for their lack of effort. But wait till you hear whose effort we're talking about. Next, first things first.